This chapter is the calm before the storm, as I like to lovingly refer to it as. It kind of bridges one battle into the next and gets you ready for what's to come. Toriko Gourmet number 83, Quaking Continent.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters and gourmet hunters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and kind of grisly, sometimes a little bit gross with the squishy bugs from Tommy Rod and others, Tale of Toriko. Now, our last chapter, of course, saw us with Match winding up taking out, Barry Gammon and pretty much slicing him in half. And really, that's how things wound up ending off over here. His guys had been stomped and beaten and we presume killed by Barry. But anyway, that's right where things pick up. And Match is really, he's just like, it's great because there's like this inner monologue of like, God, it's hard for me to even force the words into my mouth that like, I beat him. I beat him. But he's got nothing left, right? He's released and expelled too much energy, and he's just got nothing left. He's shaky on his feet, and he goes and he looks over, and he actually looks at Bogey, on the ground, and of course Barry as well. And I don't know if he realizes it right away or what, but it winds up talking about how with Bogey, even though his sacrum was removed, his other, tendons, nerves, whatever, are like making the reconnections for the neurotransmitters. So he's basically healing himself. And Barry has these leeches that he has inside him that are basically like knitting his organs back together from the slice that he took from Match, right? So basically, unless these guys are killed or taken out, Takamaru and Match really only wasted their time. They bought a little bit of time, I guess, for Toriko. But anyway, and then he kind of goes and he goes to look, and all of a sudden there's like all these swords that come at him in this like kind of really cool shot that's done, almost like a double panel spread. And at first I was like, what the hell? What I took from that, though, was that was basically like the pain and the pangs of just like his body just basically saying, dude, we exerted too much. He's got nothing left. Because then the next page is this double page spread where it's like the raw aura and essence, the feral, bestial, animal, whatever, presence of Toriko, and the sickening one that looks kind of like a creepy bug, squirmy thing of Tommy Rod just kind of going at it. And Tommy is, just going and throwing these insects. Of course, they're all flying and swarming at Toriko. Toriko is doing his, his multiple flying fork technique. Some of them are hitting him, but for the most part, they're just dodging them. These things are weaving in underneath his suit, tearing his suit up, trying to get into his skin. Toriko actually goes and gets to the point where he just goes and like, boom, just hammer punches one of them and smashes him against the ground. And what winds up happening is as Match goes and kind of approaches Toriko, Toriko's his shirt has been ripped off, his thermal shirt, And Tommy, of course, makes mention of that. Oh, what are you going to do now with this off and blah, blah, blah. Match comes over and he's got like nothing left but one of his like dying things that he's going to do. And Toriko doesn't even have any idea what's going on. He turns and sees him. Match goes to hand him his thermal suit and says, you'll die, you'll freeze without this. I wish I could be more help to you. I wish I could lend you my sword, but I'm afraid I'm no good right now. I'm no help to anybody. This is the best I can do right now. And he collapses, right? Toriko goes, and it's great because he looks back and he sees the carnage that's been laid out before them and what Takamaru and Match wound up giving, rising to the occasion, going above their level, you know what I mean? And really that's what it is. It was very much like a Rocky Balboa story. Rocky had a lot of heart, but I'm sure he was a great fighter, but you've seen these movies, and here's this guy 5'8", 5'9", the Italian stallion they call him, and he's fighting guys that are twice his size, that got, an 8 or 10 inch farther reach, as far as for their punch, and he winds up taking out these guys that were next level, and that's what Takamaru and that's what Match did, as far as I'm concerned. And it's great because Toriko acknowledges that. He goes and he says, thank you for what you did, right? Tommy, on the other hand, being the piece of shit that he is, he looks at it as like, hey, these guys that lost are pathetic failures, right? And since my guys lost and they're pathetic failures, he goes and actually stops his swarm of insects from coming at Toriko and has them go towards his two fallen comrades, right? To basically go and lay their eggs and shit inside of them and more or less just desecrate their bodies. And Toriko goes and he's like, none of that, Tommy. And I love how Toriko does it because all of a sudden just like this heat starts emanating from his body and it's like this aura, this presence, this strength, this feeling, right? Because even Match can feel it. Match is like, you can feel he's just actually superheating the air around him. 80 below zero, right? And Toriko is like a furnace, And Toriko goes and he says, have some respect for those that have fallen in battle and that have fought for you, right? And basically, tells Tommy to fuck off, pay attention to me. We're having our battle now, right? So Tommy goes and he's just like, what are you talking about? He's like, useless things get thrown in the trash is what he says. They were useless things get thrown in the trash. You need to realize that, Toriko. And he goes and barfs out some more insects, and God, it just makes me shudder, this weird looking fucking thing. And it's weird because he looks like humanoid. He doesn't even look real the way it is. It almost looks like this weird sort of like just twisted doll, like something out of like the Toy Story movies, that kid Sid at the end of it that was always fucking with the toys and gluing them on heads onto this one and everything. That's what this looks like. Tommy looks like one of those just like sort of toys that's an amalgamation of several different horrific things, It just makes my skin crawl. Anyway, but the shit is about to go down because the chapter winds up ending with Toriko going and just kind of just pulling out that heat essence, energy, whatever you want to call it, and then Tommy, of course, going and is going to go and tells him, gives him the useless speech, and then goes and spits the bugs at him. And anyway, what this is the prelude, man. This is the he's die already, but this is the calm before the storm, if you can even call it that, because the last several chapters have really just been just tight action, just going from one to the next to the next. And I like how everything is laid out and how it's all taken in succession in the chapters and whatnot. But this chapter was very much a like, hey, get ready, because this shit's coming. Toriko ain't fucking around. And so very, very cool stuff. My episode, or I guess chapter question I would call it, I apologize, I've been doing Hunter x Hunter reviews as well today. It's one of the days that I can actually record. But my chapter question for you, though, brothers and sisters, is really, what are your thoughts on the two different ways of looking at things? Toriko goes and values friends, values people who would lay down their lives for him, values them, win or lose. He valued the sacrifice they gave. Tommy's the exact opposite, and Tommy's basically just like, hey, unless you're of use to me right now, he's a user. If you're not useful to me right now, you never get used to that creepy fuck. If you're not useful to me right now, I have no need for you. He discards it. So, I would like to know what your thoughts are on those two different schools of thought, and where do you fall? What category do you fall in? Are you a person who uses others for your benefit and gain? And I know a lot of people aren't going to want to admit to that in the comments, but we all have probably done it at one time or another. Some maybe more than others, who knows? Or are you a person who above all values what others go and bring to the table and what they give you, and you're just thankful to have that friend, to have that person who followed you blindly into battle or whatever it may be? Leave your answer to that question in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe for God's sakes if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one.
Remember to follow me on my other channels as well as Facebook and Twitter and Instagram too.